everybody, welcome to the channel for new battle report. So another practice game for me. I was playing against Agrel from Team Belgium. He's playing the MSU Dwarf, so the shooty MSU, which is going to be an interesting test. It was also the occasion for me to slightly change the list. I'm still trying to figure out which of the option I prefer, basically, around the core setup of the list that I like. So basically I kept the Kadim, the core remained the same, BSB and General, and the Lamassu. And then this time I decided to include the Commissioner as a cowboy, then a bigger unit of Anointed, but slightly smaller than last one. Last time I had 6, now I have 5, because I have also the Commissioner that can be within the unit sometimes, also outside. The 3 Anointed, then I have an additional Chaff unit, Vassal Cavalry, which is also a possibility for me to add some flaming token. I felt engineering token can be a good way sometimes to help me getting reroll to wound, and then the rest of the list remains the same. Agrel was playing the following list, so basically, as always, if you read an MSU shooty dwarf list, what you need to check mainly is the setup of the war machines. I think that's the choices that have the most impact on the game. He picked a very interesting setup, which is organ gun, a cannon, and a catapult, which is basically 3 war machines that are going to be useful in most of the matches. He has also an engineer to help hitting better with the organ gun most of the time, and then the rest is just usual: double miner, double old guardian, double seeker, double copter, 2 grudge busters, and a couple of small units in core that can score. Basically, plenty of scoring, a lot of units that, as you can see, nothing is more than 295, so everything less than 300 points. Definitely totally different than my list, which, as you can see, basically already my Lamassu is the most expensive, is maybe one of my least expensive stuff, and it's basically one of the most expensive stuff of his list, so that's funny. We randomly played Refuse Flank and Spoil of War, and below you have the spell selection. He gave me +1 spell instead of additional channel, which I think is the right choice. I should have just picked something else than Flaming Sword that I didn't cast all game long. I should have picked instead, I think, Deceptive Glamour would have been the best choice here. Anyway, matchup analysis. So he has a lot of shooting, which means big variance. So this is typically the type of matchup that you don't like to rate too optimistic, because you know that if he can start and do a lot of damage with shooting, it can basically change the result that you can expect. Obviously, starting is key in this matchup. I have 3 big units, so Anointed Boss, the 2 core units. That should cause him problem. He's playing an MSU, so it's not easy to kill 30-ish something dwarfs, and also 20 something with a bastion, so not so easy for him to kill all these wounds. And basically me pushing forward will force him to feed me chaff. Kalim Titan has a limited expected lifetime. Yeah, he has all the tools to kill him. Basically the 3 war machine can do a lot of damage on him, so I know that it's going to be a complicated game for Kalim Titan. Secondary should be to my advantage. I need to take it with the big unit, because I know, for example, 3 Anointed don't have enough wounds. He could easily kill those wounds in a couple of turns of shooting, and then force me to drop a secondary objective, a Spoil of War. Deployment, I think the Refuse Flank, while the secondary objective is in my advantage, I think the deployment is more in his advantage, because it gives him deep to use and to take advantage from, and basically make it harder or longer for me to reach him. Manage the miners carefully. I think that's something key. He has 2 units that can cause some trouble with shooting and then in close combat, and obviously use the piece of terrain to my advantage, as it is always the case when you face so many shooting. I felt, nevertheless, due to the secondary objective, that the estimation of this matchup was in my favor. Deployment wise, my opponent won the roll for side, which I was really happy with, maybe the most important roll of the game. He picked the following side, and I had the bottom right, so I obviously elected to drop for first turn. I placed my Anointed with Commissioner facing the right Spoil of War, and I placed the Infernal Warrior facing the middle one. They can also be on the field, which is a key piece of terrain to get soft cover. So basically then I have soft cover here, and those 2 units are a bit outside or further away from his line, and are also more resilient to shooting. So yeah, small Anointed, big Anointed, Lamassu, fast Scav, Bastion with the BSB. The General is somewhere here in the big block, and then I have my Slave. Basically I wanted my magic to be as central as possible to get good reach, and the Kadim Titan on the far left is really happy to get a hill to hide behind, maybe, and to cause him some trouble, so really happy to get this piece of terrain. His counter deployment, he decided to elect to go with a strong, his strong part of the map. Basically, he deployed here his war machine, which is harder for me to attack this part of the map. So I think his deployment, it makes sense for him to get a strong flank. Then the position of the war machine, we can discuss about it. He put here Forge Warden, Old Guardian, a Copter, a Grudge. This is Vanguarding guy, the Small Seeker, Cannon, Catapult, Organ Gun, Engineer within Greybard. Then here's the two Guild-crafted Warrior. Here's another Greybard, second Copter, Grudgebuster, Slayer, and here the last unit of Old Guardian. So pretty symmetrical, as you can see. It's more or less half the army and half the army here, plus here the War Machine and the Engineer, so basically more point here. But regarding strengths in close combat, it's very even. So we'll see how it goes. I push turn 1, go on the spoil on the right, push max all I can with all of the unit, more or less. Can Titan hide behind the hill, so I want basically that none of the War Machine can hurt him right now. I'm really happy about his position. Basically, the role of the Kalim Titan here will be to zone this key part of the map, which could help him close the gap and try to put pressure on the middle spoil that can be the harder, can be basically the easiest for him to try to get in comparison to the right one, which is on a stubborn unit of Anointed, really on a strong flank, so quite hard. I hide my Lamassu to not be shootable, and I turn those guys around to place a frameable token here. In Magic Phase, I fail Pentagram of Pain on 2 dice, then I get Mark for Doom on 4 dice, but he dispelled that with 5. And I will get a breast weapon on those warriors to at least do some damage, and I kill 3 of them. And that's the end of my turn 1. His turn 1, he moves slightly back here on the strong flank, basically push some single model behind the hill that I can charge right now, and push slightly without leaving me any charges. It keeps this Grudge Buster right here at the moment, so still this flank remains for me too weak to not get pushed by those units. And in shooting, he didn't do that much because, yeah, I have soft cover, so it's not so easy. He didn't hit with the catapult, and then the rest is heavily impacted by soft cover, so not so easy for him to hit me. He killed a couple of warriors, but not much, like 3 or 4. My turn 2, I move this unit on the second token, and I keep to remain in the field. Basically, I march maximum with Bastion to get shooting range of the warrior or those Old Guardians. Here I push as well, but not that much because now I pick the token, so I can only move 7. I move slightly those guys, basically covering the flank, but not doing much because I don't want to get charged by Grudgebuster. And here I use the Lamassu to protect my backline. In case he wants to ambush with miners right here, I can charge with Lamassu, and even possibly also with the Chaff unit. So those guys are still not too bad on the charge, and I can provide, for example, a flammable token that can be useful. Other than that, yeah, just move slightly back to Kalim Titan. It's going to remain most of the game behind the hill to not get shot by the War Machine until, yeah, I'm going to stay as long as I can here behind the hill because it's 500 points, and if I can avoid to give away too many points, it's much better. It's going to be a tight game. As you can see, his points are really spread out around the battlefield, so I know I'm going to try to get some. Basically, my game plan after deployment is try to get to this area of the map, which is the key area that I can get like 12, yeah, maybe there is 1,500 or 2,000 points here that I'm going to target, try to lose as many as I can and get secondary objective. That's basically my game plan. And as you can see, it's very nice zone for me because all his War Machine are aligned on this part of the impassable, so basically there is like yeah, like a no man's land here behind that he can see and can shoot, so that can be also really interesting for me to play behind, to not suffer too much from his shooting. In the Magic Phase, I got a Pentagram of Pain on the Organ Gun, rolled really well and did 3 wounds, so that was nice. Then I got a Breast Weapon, rolled really well, killed 6 of the Guild-crafted, but the Bastion disappointed a bit. I had 4 guys left. I decided to shoot at them, but I killed only 2, so there is still 2 left. And that's it for my turn, so nice range damage phase this time. His turn 2, he elected to use the 2 remaining guys as chaff for the Bastion, which I think makes sense. He marched with the copter in the zone. I was covering the angles with the slaves to make sure that if the copters go here, I can charge him. So he accepted to take it, just move over me, do some damage, and move in front of me. I have leadership 9 thanks to the Infernal Warrior unit, so don't care that much. Remains behind the hill or not seeable from the Kalim Titan, so Kalim Titan doing the best he can do. I mean, I'm hidden for the War Machine, but at the same time I'm still zoning key parts of the map and avoiding some unit to push. And to be honest, only the big block here is already enough for him to make it's pretty much impossible for him to push because this unit is just too strong to face one of his units. yeah, other than that, the strong flank, as you can see, now he elected to move the grudge to get additional striking force. So most of his striking force right here, where I want to push, I think makes sense. He comes off the board with a minor unit, a bit more or less where expected, so we'll see how that goes. In the shooting phase, he got some 5, this time a bit more 5, Infernal Warrior dead. My turn 3, I elected to charge with Lamassu. He only declared to hold, not stand and shoot, because he wanted to stand and shoot on those guys in case I want to charge, which I elected not to do. Move those guys to get a counter charge next round. Those guys push forward a bit. Here I charge. It was really interesting because it's a terror check on the 9 due to the Bastion being gigantic. He passed that check on the 9, luckily for him, because if he failed that one, it's then charge on 8 in the flank, and I think here that would be huge in the game. So good for him that he didn't fail that one. I picked the second spoil. Here I charged the Copter, and the Titan didn't move much. Magic phase, I try to get Hereditary in the close combat, he dispelled that, and then get +1 armor save. Basically the goal here is to get reroll to wound on the breast attack, but he's going to dispel that with the denial rune. Close combat, also a key moment, he has a fear check on 8, no reroll, he passed that one. I'm going to do a total of 3 wounds to him, 4 wounds with the stomp, and he's going to do 1 wound to me, and he hold the steadfast again on the 8, no reroll. So everything fine right now. Other than that, I killed those 2 guys, and I elected not to overrun because basically there was exact 1 roll that would be putting me in the flank of those guys. So I couldn't afford getting charged in the flank by multiple units. So basically I elected then to reform. On his turn 3, to my surprise, and here what happened, he did a perfect, he did exactly 2 wounds, meaning he tied to my charge and 1 rank. So that was disappointing, and I did nothing to him obviously. On his turn, to my surprise, he elected to double charge with the Grudge Buster, who fail on a 7 Swift Ride, and then those guys on the easy charge like 4 or 5, they get that, but I'm still not sure that's the best to do for him. He checked before that he could basically send those guys, or the Copter, I think I send the Copter to chaff those guys, and send those guys to chaff that, but what he missed is the fact that he cannot chaff the Commissioner, or then he would need to use the Copter, but then I can countercharge with those guys in the middle. So I think still an issue due to the Commissioner that he forgot about, and he still forgot about because he pushed here that way, basically leaving me with a charge here, as you can see. He then come off the board with second minor unit that are only seen by my fast cav, which is most likely not enough to charge those guys. Move the Seeker on the hill, looking that way, not leaving me any overrun, so he tempted me to charge basically, but I'm not going to fall in the trap. Stand and shooting on Old Guardian did 2 wounds by the way, and then shooting he did some wounds, 1 wound on the Anointed with the minus, and like 3-4 wounds to the Infernal Warrior. Close combat, again he passed the fear check, but I do 3 wounds, he break, fled off the board, and I restrain, turn around, which is nice. Then right here I managed to do, I think here with the Copter I did 1 wound, so it's tie, and this one I managed to do some wounds, but he's stuck. It was a check, very important check, I think on a -5, so it was like a 5, I think they have leadership 10, I think so, but basically had a -5 check, non-rerollable, and if he failed that one, I mean it's key because then it's my turn next, so I can pursue and appear and charge the grudge and so on, so it would be very complicated for him, so at least he managed to hold that check. My turn 4. Counter charge in the flank because I figure out if I can reform here, basically I'm getting to my plan, all my army is getting to this nice spot outside of the War Machine range, so this is perfect, and I get rid of those guys. Here I charge with the Commissioner here, so those guys are stuck in the front. I chaff the second unit of miners, move my Lamassu to safe spot, those guys as well that are not seen by either the catapult or the cannon, so it's perfect right now. Here we're stuck in combat, I kept my Titan where he is because he's doing a good job from here. Okay, magic phase, so here Pentagram of Pain cast on the Slayer, I one-shot him, so again a huge Pentagram of Pain, really nice, and then I get a big Hereditary on the Grudge just to making sure I hit on 2+, so then it's 2+2+ with 4 attack, should be enough. I really want to get rid of him. Yeah, that's it for magic. Shooting I have nothing, everything is in close combat. In close combat I win by a bunch, he fled off the board, I turn around, managed to restrain, and here basically what happened is I was pretty sure that I'm going to kill him, and I didn't manage to do it, and then I messed up a bit about what's the best to do, because I was really focused on avoiding that this unit with my general and the spoil of war get multi-charge in a weird way. So I try to check what I can to avoid any bite solution happening, and I completely forgot the fact that I can just make him flee that way, this unit restrain, and the bastion hitting the copter. And I think that would be the best outcome, which I didn't see at all. I was really focused, let's go that way and block some charge and so on. Which is not that bad as you will see, but I think could have been better. So I pursue with the bastion, which makes the charge. I turn around with those guys. He cannot fit here in between. Move back with the grudge. Move those guys a bit forward. Here it was nevertheless a very long charge. I think like a 12 from those guys. So the grudge alone wouldn't do that much. But as you can see, it's getting a bit of a traffic jam. Moves away with the copter. Those guys a bit forward. And the charge with the miner, my chaff, obviously. Last round I forgot to mention, he did nothing to me. I had the rank, so he missed the check of -1 and he fled through the Kalim Titan, ended up right here. Those guys go away with the spoil and that's it. And he didn't rally the old guardian, which continued to flee, and next round will go off the board on half leadership basically. On my turn 5, I do a couple of charge. I charge with the anointed onto the small unit that elected to flee, so I catch them somewhere here. I charge here, so it's getting a bit of traffic jam. I turn around with those guys, move the commissioner here in counter charge position. Here I double charge the miners that one shot my fast cav. And that's it. As you can see, almost all of my army is hidden either here or here, so it's perfect for me. Yeah, the slave obviously didn't catch the copter. In the magic phase, trying to grave call on something, but I missed on 4 dice. I'm also not so well placed. I could have turned around a bit to try to finish the organ gun, so wasn't so happy about my reform here. What else? I think I got... Try to do pentagram with dispel. Yeah, nothing crazy in close combat. I cleaned those guys. So no, they fled, but they fled off the board. I cleaned and one-shot those guys and turned around. That's it. Let's go a bit faster. So he's turn 5, fled off the board here. Move the grudge here behind. Stays behind. Rally. Yeah, rally last round and now was able to flee over me, trying to get those points. Yeah, that's it. My last turn. I basically move back in the unit to not get shot. Try to do some magic. I'm going to get a pentagram, dispel, and then mark for doom, going to kill the organ gun. And then I grave call on the grudge buster. I do 4 wounds out of 5, expecting a couple of blunderbuss shot to finish him, but I didn't manage to do it. But that was a couple of nice points to take. And his last round is going to move around, take half point of the warriors, make flee the slaves that move away, so you get those points. They won't rally, and that's it. End up being a 14 that moves to a 17 because I got the secondary objective and I got most points. So yeah, quite happy about the way it goes. Was really according to plan. Post-game analysis, so not sure my opponent picked the best option. I think if we have a look at the map, I think he should have cut the other way around and picked this part of the map where he has a hill, basically denying me a very nice piece of terrain for the Titan to hide behind. So I think it didn't made his life easy by doing that way, and his army was split, and I was able to use this piece of terrain against him. So basically I used 2 terrain that he picked against him in my favor. So I think it could have done better here. Happy to start and get the spoil as fast as possible. The game plan worked. Push on the right, delay on the left. The Dwarven old, yeah, a couple of non-rollable important leadership check. I think there is the one in close combat with the old guardian. There is the one with the chaff turn 2. Those 2 were really important checks. Turn 3, yeah, he missed that the commissioner could go out of the unit, which was a costly mistake. Cost him basically a grudge buster and hold his momentum by counter pushing on the top of the map. Turn 4, Infernal Dwarf, wrong overrun choice, I think. And then Magic performed quite well, especially Pentagram, Breath of Corruption as well. Did some good wounds. Didn't do much with Grave Call, only 1 time. I missed a couple of casting as well. But Pentagram did a lot. I rolled a couple of 6s in the hit. Exactly what I expected from the Lamassu. Really happy about what he was able to do in some combat. Not sure that I need the Vassal Cavalry. I didn't do much with it. I think I could use those points maybe better in the list. Guys, that's all for this battle report. I hope you liked it. It was really interesting to play against this list, to see if my list is resilient enough against this massive shooty list. It went quite well. I also had, I think, favorable setting, the fact that it's spoil of war and I can start. Could have been much more complicated in case I wouldn't have started and it was another secondary objective. So yeah, I think here I wasn't unlucky at all and quite happy about the way it went. Guys, thanks a lot for watching the battle report. I will talk to you soon for another training game with Infernal Dwarves. Bye.